Hi everyone, and welcome to week 2 of Introduction to Literature. I want to take this opportunity just to go over the assignments for the week. There will be another video after this, also quite brief, that will provide more of an introduction to the tools of literary analysis that I hope we develop and that I plan to develop in the coming weeks. I should say that I really enjoyed reading your responses, both to the icebreaker, to the introductory forum, but also to the Audi ad, your analysis of that ad. I found a lot of what you had to say quite insightful, and I responded to a couple of you. And over the course of the next 13, 14 weeks, I will go in and I will certainly read what everybody writes, and I will, from time to time, provide my own feedback. I try not to monopolize the discussion board, but I do once in a while like to get in there and just let you know that I'm paying attention. But so far, so good. And I hope that you can see that although this is a literature class, there is a reason, a method to the madness in starting with advertising, because the skills required to analyze an ad are very much applicable to literature as well. And I think you'll see that as we move on. So let's look at what we have for the coming week. You're going to have this video, which you're already watching. There'll be one more very brief video just to introduce close reading. And so those are your first assignments, just to watch these as you did last week. I won't necessarily post a video every single week, but I think for the initial weeks, it's useful, especially as I'm laying out the course assignments. And speaking of course assignments, although it was posted last week, I am officially assigning Essay 1. That is available under Course Documents, and you'll see it's under the Essay Topics folder. Okay, and let me put this on so the way you'll see it. This is the essay itself, and then I've also just posted some basic tips. These are really small things, typographical type things, stylistic things that might be useful to you. But these are just tips that I recommend you read before you submit your paper. And then here are the actual guidelines for it. What you will see is that it's a relatively brief paper. I think it says that it needs to be at least 800 words, and that's really not very long. That's maybe 2.5 pages in normal font with normal margins. And what you'll see here is that in all 3 of the topics, and you only choose one, please pick one of these 3 topics. Do not try to answer all 3 in the same paper. Is that in each one I've taken a very specific element of a story, and I've asked you to analyze that specific element. Your goal throughout the entire paper is to explain the function of that one thing, okay? So in Young Goodman Brown, you'll see that one of the recurring symbols are these pink ribbons. And my question is, why would Hawthorne include these pink ribbons? Why pink ribbons? What might they represent, okay? Why the color pink and not some other color? Why ribbons? In A Very Old Man with Enormous Wings, at one point the old man who has these big wings is described as having parasites on these wings. Why would Marquez, the author, include that detail about parasites? Your whole paper has to be explaining the function of parasites in the story, how they might connect to what the story is about. And then your third option is in yet another story called A&P. Sammy, the narrator, compares these girls who walk into the store where he works. He compares them to bees. And what I want to know is, what is the symbolic function of bees in the story? Why would he compare them to bees and not some other insect or some other creature? Why bees in particular? Now, your goal is not to engage outside research. It's really to show me what you can do in a fairly limited space to sort of take one idea and really think through it as thoroughly as you can. So I'm not looking for outside research here. Okay, if you need to include a little bit, maybe you want to include the definition of a term or something, you want to use a quick dictionary entry or encyclopedia entry, go ahead. Make sure you cite it if you do. But the goal here really is for you to focus on the text itself, not what other people say about it. And here you've got the due date. It'll be September 13th, and you've got the basic requirements for what it should look like. As we get closer, I will post actual detailed instructions for how to submit it, when I want you to email it, and that sort of thing. Okay? So let me go back to the announcements. That's Essay 1. Let me turn this back so you, okay. The next is I've also posted the other major course assignments. So if you recall, you've got the course essays, you've got the short analysis, which I described and posted last week, and then you've got now the final one, which is moderating the discussion board. I have posted the guidelines for that to your course documents, okay? And that is right here, moderating the discussion board. I'm not going to go over this entire thing right now. I think that this should be pretty straightforward. It's not a particularly difficult assignment, but essentially what it asks you to do is create a discussion board forum, as I have been and as I will continue to, asking questions about a particular work. The class is going to respond, and then I want you to be engaging those class members in your own discussion. So if you ask a series of questions or a single question and people respond, I want you to engage those individuals in a discussion. And what I'm hoping is that the class all starts to get in on the discussion on various threads. It's in everybody's interest. If it's not your turn to moderate the discussion board, if it's not your turn to create this and then respond to others, it's still in your interest to respond earlier in the week than you need to, right? I'll put a deadline, but hopefully you post earlier, and to get in there and begin a discussion, because eventually the shoe's going to be on the other foot. And one of the things I'm grading is how well you are able to pull this off, how thoughtful your questions are, and how well you engage the other class members. So help each other out, because everybody's going to have to do this at least once. I've posted the guidelines for this to course documents, and let me just draw your attention to the scheduling document. As you can see, some people have already, okay, hopefully this will actually open. There we go. Some of you have already picked what you want to analyze for the short analysis. Note that you also have the schedule for moderating the discussion board, and I would like you all, I see a couple of you have, I would like you all to fill this out as well. Starting next week, you're going to be able to start the short analysis, and then starting with week 4, we'll start moderating the discussion board. So it's not anything you have to do just yet. I want you to get your essays underway before you even start thinking about that. But just be aware that I need you to schedule both of these this week. I want everybody to sign up for both assignments by the end of this week. Okay? So back to the announcements. I've talked about the videos you need to watch. You're doing that already. I've talked about the first essay, and I've talked about the guidelines for moderating the discussion board. Now, I've posted your reading for the week. It's Chopin's The Story of an Hour, which I'm going to talk a little bit about in the next video. Hawthorne's Young Goodman Brown, Poe's The Cask of Amontillado, Faulkner's A Rose for Emily, and Carver's Popular Mechanics. All of these are available in your Bedford text, in this text, which you should have by now and certainly should have by the end of this week. If for any of you there is a delay or a problem, please contact me, and I should be able to get most of these stories to you online if needed. In fact, I may post a couple of them just in case. So that's your reading, and then there is one discussion board item for the week, and that's entitled Setting, and here it is. Essentially what I ask you to do is pick one of the stories that I've assigned other than The Story of an Hour, because I'm going to talk about that, and I want you to pick one element of the setting and explain how important that is. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that when I do the next video on The Story of an Hour. But I want you to be nice and specific. Make sure that your responses are at least 150 words, and make sure that you're citing the text in your response. And for the purposes of this assignment and future assignments, citing means quoting the text directly and providing a parenthetical citation, APA or MLA. You do not have to put the whole reference or works cited entry at the bottom with the author name, title, publisher. I just want an in-text citation that tells me the author and page number where applicable. Okay? So back to the announcements, and the very last thing is that I want you to go to that scheduling document that I just showed and make sure that you've signed up both for the short analysis and for the moderating the discussion board. Those are two different assignments the guidelines for which are posted to course documents right now. So those are going to be your assignments for the week. Good luck, and of course, if you have any questions or concerns, please let me know.